In Cairo, but there are a lot of folks still mulling around. Relatively peaceful demonstration today at Tahrir Square. We'll see what happens tomorrow. The demonstrations certainly have transformed downtown Cairo in recent days to a place where very different from what it normally looks like. Brian Todd is here. He's got some satellite images that are going to show us the stark differences before and now.
It really is stark, Wolf, and we can start by showing you the overall Google map of this Tahrir Square area. Now, on Friday, we understand that security forces did at least seal off part of these two key bridges that go into that area, the 6 October Bridge and the Qasr Ali Neal Bridge. They at least partially shut off some traffic there, so access for cars and other vehicles was limited. We're going to go in to a map here and show you what Tahrir Square looks like on a normal day. This was before the protest got started. You see the traffic patterns here, kind of heavy here, moderate to light in other areas, but normal. And watch this. We have an overlay that we've been able to do from Digital Globe. The company Digital Globe shot a satellite photo. This is Tahrir Square on Saturday. Look at this. No cars, clumps of people lining the entire route. We'll do the overlay again. Tahrir Square before and Tahrir Square. Let's see if we can pull this over. During the protests. A really stark difference here, Wolf. And what we can show you are some key flashpoints in the Tahrir Square area where some of the video images that we saw took place. First, again, if we can come in tight to these clumps of people, this is what it looks like Thursday, and we have some video here from Friday. Look at this. This is how crowded it got on Friday. So you can imagine if this was in a satellite photo, this would be kind of wall-to-wall people over here, so you can see some of the stark differences there. Now, we go over here. This was a key flashpoint on Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. This was where some Molotov cocktails were thrown. You remember the video. You see the Molotov cocktails there, large fires taking place on trees and in buildings. This was near an overpass. You can kind of vaguely see the overpass here, just a little bit in this nighttime photo, but this is where it took place, right there near the overpass. And again, on Wednesday into Thursday, this area here in the corner of Tahrir Square where doctors and other medical personnel were coming in and treating victims. It was kind of nestled up in this corner where people were taking refuge to be treated by doctors on Wednesday night and into Thursday morning, Wolf. So again, it is a stark difference. We can just show you that kind of overlay again, Tahrir Square here, and then well, it didn't quite work that way, but anyway, you can see the stark differences.
Now, these are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who have gathered there. And there was one notion, it didn't materialize, that they were going to march to the presidential palace, where President Mubarak is and his family. That's quite a distance, though.
It is quite a distance. And, you know, there are two presidential palaces in Cairo that we know of. There's one that's only about 10 to 12 blocks away from Tahrir Square, but there is one that is about 6 miles away.
That's where we believe President Mubarak is.
We think he was there at least last night. Now, he could be moving around. You know, this situation is very fluid. But again, it would be a 6-mile march to the one where we believe he was last night. And of course, heavy security is going to be around there. We did see images of the palace downtown near Tahrir Square, satellite photo images showing armored personnel carriers, tanks ringing that area. So that's an issue to think about too, is where the presidential palaces are in relation to Tahrir Square.
And the other palace, the major palace, where we think he was, at least last night, they put barbed wire around there, and it's obviously heavily fortified.
Heavy fortifications there as well.
If the folks decide to march, we'll see if they do.
And you know, it's a very interesting comparison as well. When you look at some of the other famous venues in the United States where protests have taken place, check this out. We compared this, go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to the National Mall in Washington, D.C. And we did kind of an overlay here of what it would look like on the National Mall, the area of protest in Tahrir Square. Check this out. We did another overlay from Digital Globe here. Pull it. This is Tahrir Square, the area taken up by the protests, about a half a mile long and about a 1/10 of a mile wide. Again, compare it to the area where many protests have taken place on the National Mall in the area of the Lincoln Memorial, the reflecting pool here, the World War II Memorial here. It doesn't even take up a quarter of the National Mall. And again, we'll do the overlay. This is only about a 1/10 of a mile wide. It wouldn't even go to the streets bracketing the National Mall here on either side. So again, you get a sense of the scale of it.
Right. It's a huge, huge area. Well, if you're getting hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, a million people there, you need a big area like that.
That's right. Yep. Exactly.
All right, Brian. Thanks very, very much. Good explanation. Another message from President Obama to his Egyptian counterpart today. What the U.S. leader says Hosni Mubarak should be asking himself right now. Plus, by most accounts, the Pentagon was caught off guard by this week's violence in Egypt. Did the intelligence community, the overall U.S. intelligence community, drop the ball? Stay with me.
From the highlands of a tiny nation to the pockets of one of the world's richest men. This